Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to unpack compelling sources, looking for those crucial insights and maybe some surprising facts. Hopefully some aha moments for you.
That's the goal.
Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating, definitely intricate. Biblical prophecy. Specifically, we're honing in on this idea of the 1,000 years. You see it in places like 2 Peter 3 and also Revelation 20.
Right, those key passages.
And our guide for this is a study called The 1,000 Years Reign According to the Bible, put out by True Christian Press.
And what really jumps out, I think, is the claim they make.
Yeah, it's pretty bold. It reveals the, quote, mathematical precision of biblical prophecy. So, okay, let's unpack that.
Right. And our mission here, for you listening, is really to explore how this study takes a very different angle on these 1,000 years bits.
Different how?
Well, most interpretations you hear, they tend to see them as symbolic, right? Or maybe referring to just one single period of time. But this analysis, it argues they actually describe two distinct millennia. They call them millennia of divine patience.
Two distinct ones. So that's definitely challenging some long-held views.
It absolutely is.
And that's where it gets really interesting, I think. Because this approach, it isn't just throwing out a new interpretation. The source suggests it's actually designed to fix some long-standing problems, historical ones and hermeneutical ones.
Right.
Now, for our listeners, maybe not everyone's deep into theological jargon. Could you quickly break down what hermeneutical tensions means in this context? Like what kind of disagreements are we talking about?
Sure, happy to. So hermeneutical tensions here basically refers to the challenges or the debates scholars have had trying to make sense of what look like different timelines in the Bible.
Okay, conflicting timelines.
Or sometimes seemingly missing periods between prophetic events, things that don't quite line up easily. It's about how different ways of interpreting the Bible, that's the hermeneutics part, have led to these, unresolved questions or apparent gaps.
Got it. So different reading methods lead to different conclusions, sometimes conflicting ones.
Exactly. And this study claims it can actually bridge those gaps, resolve those tensions.
And the source argues that the answers are actually in Scripture itself, that accounts for these periods. What does it call them? Periods of prophetic pause.
Yeah, prophetic pause, using this idea, this metaphor of God's patient inaction.
Interesting phrase, patient inaction. And it's not just theory, right? You mentioned it uses actual history.
Oh, yeah. It points to specific historical events, specific timelines to try and validate these claims. We're talking about digging into historical records, even some archaeological finds, to back up these, very precise ideas about timing.
So it promises quite a journey through history to see if the pieces fit.
That's the idea.
Okay, so as we start to wrap up this deep dive, let's circle back and reflect a bit on what the source is putting forward here.
Sounds good.
The main argument, the core of the 1,000 years reign, according to the Bible, is that these 1,000 years passages, 2 Peter 3, Revelation 20, they really do mean two distinct periods.
Two separate millennia of, as they term it, divine patience.
Exactly. And the study is quite insistent that these two periods precisely bookend specific, well-documented historical events.
Right. It's not vague.
No, not at all. As we've kind of explored, this framework shines a spotlight on events like the destruction of Jerusalem. That was between 67 and 70 CE.
A huge, pivotal event.
And also the later disappearance of the Hebrew state in the 2nd century, around 132 to 136 CE.
Another critical time frame.
And these historical moments, these critical periods, are framed, according to the source, by this millennium marker concept, this idea of divine restraint or patience.
And if we try to connect that to the bigger picture they're painting, the source puts a lot of weight on one specific historical report.
Which one was that again?
The appearance of heavenly armies, reportedly seen on May 19th, 62 CE.
Ah, right, the armies in the sky.
According to this analysis, that event is absolutely critical. They argue it sets the absolute latest possible date for when the New Testament could have been completed.
Wow, okay. That's a very precise claim.
It is. And more broadly, they present it as key validation for the prophetic authenticity of the whole chronological system they lay out.
So it all ties back to that initial claim we mentioned.
Exactly. The mathematical precision and, quote, stunning accuracy of biblical prophecy. They link it directly to archaeological findings and historical records from that specific window, 62 CE, through to 136 CE.
It's certainly a bold way to try and unify what often feel like separate threads, historical data, textual interpretation.
Very much so, trying to weave it all together into one coherent timeline.
So, thinking about all this, what does it actually mean for you, our listener?
Yeah.
We've unpacked a really specific interpretation here. This idea of divine patience, these precise prophetic fulfillments happening within a very defined historical window.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
Definitely. So consider how this perspective might, challenge or maybe change how you understand these ancient texts, or how you view historical timelines in general. Maybe even the whole concept of divine orchestration in history.
Does it make you see connections differently?
Right. This framework claims it can resolve these complex interpretive debates, the gap versus no-gap hermeneutics, just by using detailed chronological analysis. Does looking at it this way, intricate approach,
Yeah.
does it encourage you maybe to look for other historical or textual connections in things you read or explore?
It certainly gives you a different lens to look through.
It really does. Definitely gives us all a lot to think about.